I understand the human brain is made to zero in on the negative so that we don't get hurt. That's how we're wired. But we need to remember, you are not your trauma. Your trauma is not you. Is it an aspect of your life? Yes. Is it something that you may have learned and overcame? Yes, absolutely. Is it something that you're going to reclaim and not be ashamed of? Yes. However, there's also another part of your life, and you need to discover that other part to kind of balance it out. You can't just rely on this thing because this is all you've been exposed to. And I get that. If this is all you've been exposed to, you may think this is all you are, but I'm telling you right now, it's not. You're more than your trauma. You're more than what you've overcome. You're more than people bashing you, people not thinking you're enough. You're way more than that.
Hello and welcome to Kitchen Table Advice. My name is Paula and I am the host of this podcast. This podcast is a place where you can ask for any advice you want. It can be relationship, both platonic or romantic, career advice, or life advice. I wanted to create a space where people could ask questions without fear of rejection. I can't guarantee it'll be good advice, but I can guarantee there'll be no shame on my end. Your name will be anonymous and your identity will always be kept a secret. This is not professional advice, and I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist, and you are under no obligation to take this advice. Just think of this as advice you would get from a close friend on a kitchen table. So, let's begin.
Hello, listeners, we are back, and I remembered to bring my adapter, so the audio should be good. Anyways, as usual, we'll just jump into the first story of the episode. The title is Ex-Boyfriend Keeps Reaching Out to Me After I Ask Him Not to. Sounds stalkerish. Let's jump in. I'm a 29-year-old woman and I'm writing it regarding my ex-boyfriend, a 28-year-old man. We dated about a year back in 2021. Broke up due to bad communications amongst other things and some emotional abuse on his part. Then reconnected last October and decided to try again. We dated from last October to about 3 months. I'm the dumper both times and recently ended things again with him because I realized he hadn't really changed. He just made me believe he did. On top of that, our values, vision, and lifestyles are not aligned. There's nothing wrong with him. He can be a decent guy, but I just don't think we're compatible and he needs to sort his life out. I politely and respectfully told him it's best that we go our separate ways and please don't reach out to me again. I also have him blocked on everything because I'm working on my healing journey. I also have some reasons to believe he may be a covert narc, but that's a whole different story. Last night, I get 2 separate knocks on my door about 15 minutes apart. The first one, I was in the shower and didn't think much of it, but then the second happened after, and I got out. There were flowers and a note on my doorsteps. He was nowhere to be found when I opened the door. The note said all the things he said to me before about how he should have done more, I was right, and he misses me, etc. I found it very unsettling that he waited around outside my apartment to knock a second time and make sure I got the notes and flowers. He also tried to text me and reach out on social media after the breakup, but I had him blocked and didn't respond. While I appreciate the gesture, I don't want to be with him again, nor do I want to be with anyone right now. I have some inner healing to do, and that is my main focus. I'm worried he won't stop and will keep trying to get in contact with me. Wow, this is so heartbreaking. We're going to be back with our advice after this break. We are back. This is a good example of how when you like someone, a gesture like that is nice. But when you don't really care for that person, that is a scary thought. Oh my gosh. But honestly, to be quite honest, it seems as though you've already vocalized. You've already talked to him. You told him to not contact you anymore, but he keeps doing it. Or maybe he thinks you're playing hard to get or whatever guys get in their minds when a girl says no. I don't know. Okay. But I'm really thinking about it. It's like, what can you do in this state? You could threaten filing a restraining order. You could try to do that. And Let him know you're not interested in dating him. You don't even have to tell him that, not right now. Just let him know you've moved on from the relationship and he should move on as well. He should heal. And if he ever does this again, you're going to pull a restraining order on him. It's like, and I am saying restraining order because I don't actually think it's fall. These things can be very scary. Obsessed boyfriends are scary. No, you may not think it's that bad, but it can get that bad. And I don't really know how he is with you, but you did mention that there was some emotional abuse on his part in the relationship. It's just like, I feel as though he's still trying to get you back. Well, he's trying to emotionally guilt trip you into getting you back. That's what he's using right now. And he's trying to use all these tactics of I miss you, you were right, all that, but he hasn't really done the work. He hasn't really looked into himself and see what was wrong in the relationship, as you have stated. It's good that you want to take some time out and figure your life out, figure out where you went wrong, figure out how you want to pursue this life. But to be quite honest, tell him if he continues with this behavior, you're gonna file a restraining order. And I don't think it's too much for you to do that. Because as women, we may think, oh, maybe a restraining order is too much. But no, sometimes some people need to know that there will be consequences to your actions. This is not seen as sweet. This is not seen as nice. This is serious, and I'm going to take it seriously. And yes, as women, we may think, oh, we're overreacting, but absolutely not. It starts with a gentle gesture, and it may evolve into something else. That is so scary. Why the heck is he knocking at your door? And you like, well, let's just end it there. Like, do people even knock on other people's door anymore? Isn't that like something they did in the 50s? I'm sorry, but it's just like, why is he knocking at your door? No, that's scary. That's scary. That's some psycho crap. Anyways, that is my take on that. And if you need to turn him with a restraining order, I definitely would. That is scary. That is creepy. It's weird. It seems as though you've already voiced everything. From here, it really doesn't seem as though she hasn't. It seems as though she's told him every single thing, but he's still trying to play these games. He's trying to get on her good graces because he has a relationship with her. He knows how to make her bend a little bit, and he's using all those tactics. Absolutely not. Like, threaten a restraining order. Tell him off if you need to. These men, people like this and it's not just men. This can be women as well. But people like this are very scary, and they need to they're very scary, and they need to be completely cut out of your life. It's creepy. It's weird. Right now, it's not that bad, but eventually, it can grow up to that. We don't want that for you. So right now, it's just go to a restraining order route if you need to. But yeah, that is my advice. It's just no. That was a very short advice. Anyways, I didn't think I was gonna have such a direct advice for that one. So we might have 3 stories this episode. So we're back and we'll just jump into the second story. The title is "Should I Have Given My Match a Second Chance After Ghosting Me?" Right? I am a 28-year-old woman, and I'm writing about a 28-year-old man I matched on an app a couple of weeks ago. He would only message me at night, but then later would be more towards midnight and after that. He was very keen to meet. We had a call which he reiterated he was keen to meet and was very flirty. After the call, he asked for my number, but because we were only talking for a couple of days at that point, I asked if we could wait to meet. He said it was okay and he was looking forward to meeting. We had another call where he reiterated how excited he is to meet. In between the calls, there wasn't much talking in between the calls, there wasn't much talking and sometimes ignored me. I was going to a new city to see him and my other friends, and we'd planned that day. I messaged to let him know my time, but he didn't reply. I called and he said he was very busy at work. I then messaged later that night and asked him to let me know so I can plan my travel. He said he will message me the day after as he had deadlines. He didn't. I messaged a few days later stating my time and again said, let me know. He didn't reply. The night before we were supposed to meet, I waited until late. I could tell he was online on the app. I wished him the best and unmatched. I work a very okay. I work a very shift-based long-hour job and still made time. Was this him ghosting me and did I make the right decision? Since this was quick and short, we'll just jump into the advice. He was not ghosting you. He was trying to use you for intimacy, to be intimate. That's it. He was not ghosting you. He was not interested in a long-term committed relationship. He didn't put in the time. He didn't put in the effort. I don't care what anyone says. These are basic rules to when someone just wants to get frisky. They just want a body, but they don't want to invest in an actual relationship. He's not ghosting you. He just wants to do the deed. That is it. So, now, if you were interested in doing the deed, then I guess you missed out on that one. But if you were not and you're interested in a long-term committed relationship, then good for you. Go actually match with someone who cares, who's willing to put in the work, who's willing to prioritize building a relationship with you, getting to know you, getting to know what you like, getting to know your hobbies, and you also getting to know them, getting to know different facets of their life, their family, their work, all of that stuff. Both of you guys should get to know each other. He kept calling you. He kept only messaging you at night and leaning towards midnight. Lady, he just wanted XCS. That's it. Like, because it's like that is actually one of the most primal signs of this person just wants your body, but not who you really are. When they only message you at night and leaning towards midnight, they don't make any effort to message you through the day. They don't really put in that much work to see you. They may tell you all these sweet stuff that men recycle over and over again, and they think that women are just going to fall over, which some do. So maybe it works. But they will just tell you a bunch of nonsense. I call it nonsense, but hey. They just tell you a bunch of stuff, not really put in the work, not really put in the effort. And unfortunately, some people are really desperate out here and they fall for that. It's good that you didn't fall for that and you prioritize your time. You try to seek an actual relationship with this person who did not want to seek a relationship. It's a good thing you unmatched now. You know what to look for on someone on a dating app who's only going to message you at night and not really quite put in the effort. It may mean that they're actually busy and this is the only time, but even those people would take out a day and be like, okay, you know what? I didn't give you the attention that you deserve, and I haven't really tried my best, but I've committed this day to meeting you, and I've planned this, Are you available? Usually, those are the people who are more mature, even though they're busy, which is completely understandable. This world is difficult. We all have bills to pay, and we need to do what we need to do to get those bills done. So yes, people do get busy, and there are times that they can only message you at a certain date, at a certain time. However, there's a caveat to that. They will still try to let you know their schedule as best as they can. And if you voice your opinion about how you feel as though they're not really prioritizing this connection and they're not really putting their best foot forward to someone who's actually interested in you, they're going to try to put their best foot forward. They're going to try to they're going to try to seem interested. If they may think they were interested, but if you voice that, okay, like when the fact that you keep calling me at night, the fact that you're not responsive, it's making it seem as though this isn't a priority for you. You're not really looking for a relationship of sort. Someone who's actually looking for those things are going to take your words into consideration and dedicate a day to you. It has happened. No matter how busy someone is, they still have time for the things they prioritize in their life. If you're not a priority, they're not going to contact you. But if you are a priority, they're going to put you in their schedule, whether it can be an hour or two or whatever. They're going to try to pencil you in their schedule. and show you that they actually care about this connection. They want it to go. They want to go forward, and they want to, they want to build a relationship with you. Relationships are, what's it called? We all know right now, relationships are give and takes. Sometimes you're going to give, sometimes you're going to take, sometimes your partners are going to give, sometimes they're going to take. Relationships are a two-way street. If one person wants to be in a relationship, the other one doesn't, the relationship is broken. It does not matter how much you like this person, the relationship is not going to go anywhere. Both people have to put in the work. Both people have to try to make it work. And sometimes you're going to fall on the wayside because you're comfortable. Absolutely. It happens to the best of us. However, when your partner voice that this isn't really how I thought the relationship was going to be, if you love them, you're going to be like, okay, wait, you're right. I can see how you may feel this way. And I'll try as best as I can with my busy schedule. It may not be the same as the day when I was actively pursuing you or courting you or trying to date you, but I'm still going to try to dedicate a certain amount of days or certain weeks that I just focus on you and we just focus on being a couple. It happens even with very busy people. So the fact that this person does not care to even reply, it's a simple reply. Come on. Like, listen, I have not replied to people before, and that was because, to be honest, I didn't care that much. I did not care that much. Maybe this is where my advice is stemming from, but I have not replied to some folks, and it was because I did not really care that much. But like, he can easily reply. You're coming to his, what's it called? You're visiting friends, and on your way to visiting friends, you're coming into his area, and you're letting him know you're going to be in town, and he can't even bother to reply. Are you kidding? He can easily reply, oh, we can't, I'm sorry, I know that you're coming in town, but I'm really busy, I'm really booked with this or that. A simple reply to just let you know to not have him in your schedule. That is the mature thing to do. It's like everyone is so childish. If you don't like someone, just let them know you don't like them. You don't have to play these dumb games. This is stupid. But anyways, that is my advice. That is how I see that. And to be honest, I think he was just trying to use you for your body. And I'm actually happy you didn't match with him. And I hope that you have better matches in the future. But now you know what to watch out for. Someone who's only going to call you at night during midnight is a no-go. Someone who's not going to reply your text maybe within a day or two or whichever timeline is for you is a no-go. Someone who you see online, you can see that they're active online, but they're not making any effort to talking to you, is a no-go. Someone who's going to cancel on you and not really initiate another day of meeting up, because we know life happens, we know things happen, okay? So they're going to cancel on you, but they're not going to give you another date. It's a no-go. So you know what not to expect in a partner, and when someone presents you with those qualities, which they might because they're actually busy and they don't really see it as a big deal. So you already have these qualities on your list of what to not tolerate from a partner. Now when you meet a person who exhibits those qualities, because good or bad people might exhibit those qualities, not knowing it's a trigger for you. So once they exhibit those qualities, you let them know, I don't really like it when you do this. I don't really like it when you do that. Someone who actually wants to build a connection with you would try to not do that. There's some time where they may slip up, yes, but they will immediately catch themselves. I've seen it before. People who don't care might try to test your boundaries and see how much is she willing to let up if I keep doing this and that. And if you bend on your non-negotiables, then they're going to think you're going to bend on everything else. So, yeah. So just, yeah. If you're in a similar situation, use any, if you're in a similar situation as this woman, please use that experience as what to not tolerate from a partner. And this is not when someone does that, they're immediately a bad person. That's why I tell you guys, when someone does that, and you know this is one of your non-negotiables, you let them know. And depending on how they act towards that, that's how you know if they really care for you, if they really want to build something with you, or they really don't really care that much about you. And that's all right. They may not care about you, but guess what? There's someone else who is going to care about you and who is going to treat you the way you want to be treated. All right. So that is it. I didn't think the advice for that would be so long, but I just kept talking. Anyways, so that is it for that story. And we'll jump into the third and last story of the episode. All right, we are back with the third story, and this title is very interesting. Depending on how it goes, I might actually get angry, but the title is I love someone who isn't able to take care of himself. Is there anything I can do about it, or am I wasting my time? I'm leaning more towards you're wasting your time, but let's dive in. I've been in a situationship with someone for almost 6 years. We're truly best friends. I haven't allowed myself to commit anything to him because I struggle with the fact that he cannot take care of himself. He is financially irresponsible, not someone who seems to invest much in his own life. Like he has these friends who treat him so shitty and doesn't know how to cook slash clean and any other basic things. It all gives off the vibe that he just doesn't think of himself very highly, but just as a heart but just has a heart of gold, such a kind and genuine person. I've cared for him for so long that I don't think I see things clearly anymore. I agree. I feel like we are, she said perfect, but I'm going to say quote unquote perfect for each other, connection wise. But he doesn't know how to be independent. I don't know how to make sense of that. Will we be happy together like this? I really hate that he seems to find it so difficult to progress in the areas where he's lacking after so much time. I could easily envision a life together where we made a very happy family together, but I just don't know how much it's okay for him to be on I just don't know how much it's okay for him to be unable for him to bring to the table. If I could just make a wish and edit those aspects of him, I would sign up for life with him, but I can't. I just don't know if there's anything salvageable or if I need to learn to let it go. It eats at me a lot. I have dated other men while he's been part of my life, and those men have checked more of the boxes, but the connection didn't come as naturally. Doesn't mean it couldn't with the right person, but it just hasn't so far. If we're a team, there's nothing here worth saving. Any words of wisdom as to how to let this go would be helpful. It's tough because I have acquaintances and people I hang out with, but don't have an inner circle of friendship to support me, and somewhat of a complicated relationship with my family. So there are people in my life, but none that I trust at all showing any meaningful emotion around. This would be a huge loss to grieve in my life, but I want to do right by myself. Wow. We'll jump in since we're already taking our second break. I feel like I need another one. But as I was reading this, I was like, she probably does not have a relationship with her family. Oh, for context, I don't think I gave the age. By the way, she's a 28-year-old woman and the man is 34. 34-year-old baby. That's not shocking anymore. Anyways, you're fooling yourself and you're wasting your time. You're fooling yourself and you're wasting your time. What I would suggest, I don't know what, because it's whenever I see women who feel attached to these destitute, low-life men who have nothing to bring to the table, I always wonder why. Why? Why? She said herself there are so many people who check off more of the boxes, but the connection isn't there. Is it connection or is it trauma? Because sometimes I really think some of us see these connections as actual connections when they're trauma. It's not connection. Yes, may I be reaching by going for trauma? Maybe. But she did state, and this just kept coming to the back of my mind when I was reading this. She did state she does not have an inner circle of friendships to support her. She has a very complicated relationship with her family, and she feels as though breaking this relationship, breaking this bond, will be very devastating for her. And I can presume that would be the case because in her life, this is the person that she feels as though she's better able to be herself. She's better able to connect, which is why there's a so-called connection. But this connection may be due to trauma and the lack of having an inner circle, the lack of support, and a skewed relationship with your family. I'm just saying, maybe this is not your connection may be based on trauma. That's it. As much as I encourage you guys to I don't think I've actually said that, but I do encourage you guys to find your tribe, find the people who vibe with you and who would accept you for who you are. It's completely different when you're connecting based on trauma. When you want to connect with people, you want that person to accept you for who you are, appreciate what you're bringing to the table, appreciate your skills, all those stuff. However, it's very dangerous when you do that based on trauma and not based on actual stuff you like. That is why I always stress to you, go towards your like, find out what you like, and know your dislikes. I don't really know what this connection is built on, but something is just telling me it is built on trauma. Someone who cannot take care of himself. Maybe she saw that in her childhood or in her family, and it reinforced the fact that people like that are just, life has it so hard on them, they can't help it. Or someone who allows his friends to just treat him like garbage. Obviously, there's a lack of self-worth in him. And I am going to sound so mean saying this, but it seems as though there's a lack of self-worth in her as well. How can you connect with someone like this? Someone who cannot do the basic adult things, such as cooking and cleaning. How is he taking care of himself? Wait, he's not taking care of himself. That's what she said in the title. This is literally a child. And I don't know what you were exposed to in your childhood that made you seem as though this is okay for an adult to do, but it's not okay. It's not okay for someone to not be able to take care of themselves. It's not okay for someone to not be able to cook or clean. I'm not saying be a chef or be a really good cleaner, whatever those are called. You should be able to make at least a dish or two to sustain yourself. Come on. What? You should be able to clean your environment so that when your friends come around, they can sit somewhere. These are basic adult traits. These are stuff we all learn as children. Our parents teach us after we play with our toys, tuck your toys away. That's how people develop cleaning skills. Or if you're a girl, unfortunately, this is mostly towards girl, but when your mom would cook dinner, she would yank you in the kitchen. I think they should be yanking every single kid in the kitchen, not just based on gender. I don't actually mind the cooking aspect, but it's just the fact that they try to make it gender. Anyway, we're not going towards that. But if you're a girl, I'm pretty sure you've had instances where your mom would yank you in the kitchen, where you prepare a meal with her, all those stuff. And still, all learn how to set a table. Those are all skills that encourage social environment, that encourage you bringing your friends over, you have a party. Those are all skills that prepare you for the social world. And the fact that he's not able to do that, that's a problem. That is a problem. But this is a person you think you're perfect with. As much as I am definitely, there are a lot of stuff here. And I'm not really going to go into him too much because I don't really think that's about him. He's not the person who wrote this. She was. And I think if you're in a similar situation as her, you really need to evaluate why you feel as though you have a strong connection with this person who can't take care of himself, is financially irresponsible, does not have a close-knit friend, or just allows his friends to crap on him. Why do you feel like there's a connection with this person? And you may have to look internally. Does it stem from childhood? Were you treated this way? Did you see other people treated this way and you felt as though this was okay? And secondly, is this connection built on trauma? You do not listen. There are a lot of people build connections in this world based on a lot of different stuff. And I think one of the most dangerous connections to be made in this world are actually connections built on trauma and connections built on abuse. Those are part of trauma, because those are the type of connections where after you had that relationship with that person, whether it's a friend, whether it's a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship, it's so difficult. You have to go to therapy. You have to relearn who you are. Like, relationship built on trauma tend to be karmic relationships, and whether it's good or bad or right or wrong, that's debatable. But I I don't think that is something you should be seeking in a romantic partner. Could your partner have gone through stuff in their past and they later overcame it and they went to therapy? They began figuring out where all these stuff stem from. Absolutely, that's fine. I'm not saying if your past is filled with trauma, then you're doomed. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just saying that if you're still in the midst of that, you don't want to be in a relationship. If you're still in the midst of that, I would not advise you to be in a relationship with a person like that. Regardless of how much empathy you have for them, regardless of how much compassion you have for them, regardless of how much understanding you have for their situations, do not be in a relationship with someone like that. And really look at yourself. What about this person are you attracted to? What is this connection built on? Is it built on my parents abused me and so did yours, and now I feel like I'm more connected to you? Is that the foundation of what you want your relationship to be based on? That is it. And after that, you really need to ask yourself, is this the foundation of how I want my relationship to be based on? Based on traumatic childhood, traumatic past, abuse, not being financially responsible. Is that really the foundation of what you want your relationship to be based on? Because I can guarantee that a relationship based on that is not going to be fruitful. It's going to be damaging. It's not going to be fruitful, and you will not find fulfillment in that type of relationship at all. If anything, you might actually succumb to more trauma. It's basically like the blind leading the blind at this point. Both of you guys come into this connection traumatized, and no one really knows how to come about. But it doesn't mean you're doomed at all. But it's just like if you're attracted to this type of person. And another thing I want to add, another thing I want to specify, I'm not talking about people who have been in a traumatic situation who are doing the work or who have finished doing the work. I'm talking about people who are in traumatic situations. They can't even see it. They're so blinded by it. They cannot see it. If you tell them, they'll deny. They'll try to make up excuses here and there. Those are the people I'm talking about. And it seems as though this guy is in this situation. And if that's the case, it's good that it seems as though the girl has, she's a little bit more self-aware to the point where she knows that this isn't good for her and she wants to do right by herself. But another step that I will caution to the girl would be, what about this connection? Or do you feel like it's so fulfilling? Are you trauma bonding? Is that where you're finding your fulfillment? And that is a very dangerous place to be in. You don't want to find your fulfillment in trauma bonding. You don't want to find your understanding of self based on trauma. Because even though these traumatic instances have happened in your life and they may have shaped your life for how it is, whether good or bad right now, that's not all of who you are. That is never all of who you are. You are not built based on your trauma. You're not built based on the stuff you've overcame, whether it can be good or bad. You're not built based on that. That's not just you. There's also another part of you who likes all this other stuff, who is more bright, who is more open, who's more loving. You're not just built on trauma. So don't make connections based on trauma, because that's not all of who you are. I can understand how it may be a part of your life and it may be a part of your story and it may be something that you really want to reclaim. I get that. But you have to remember that this isn't all of you. And you don't want, especially in a romantic relationship, your foundation should not be based on this one aspect of your life. Regardless of how it looks, regardless of how you think of it, it should not be based on just this one aspect of your life. It should also accompany all the other aspects of your life. Your nurturing side, your loving side, the fact that you can act goofy at certain times. All those little stuff also play a role in who you are. You don't just want your relationship to be based on this one thing. And I understand it may seen as though is the most significant thing in your life. I can see how, because we have a tendency to zero in on the negativity. I'm sure you heard that before. You have people, you have influencers and YouTubers who they see all these nice comments, but then you have that one negative comment, they just zero in on that. I understand the human brain is made to zero in on the negative so that we don't get hurt. That's how we're wired. But we need to remember, you are not your trauma. Your trauma is not you. Is it an aspect of your life? Yes. Is it something that you may have learned and overcame? Yes, absolutely. Is it something that you're going to reclaim and not be ashamed of? Yes. However, there's also another part of your life, and you need to discover that other part to kind of balance it out. You can't just rely on this thing because this is all you've been exposed to. And I get that. If this is all you've been exposed to, you may think this is all you are, but I'm telling you right now, it's not. You're more than your trauma. You're more than what you've overcome. You're more than people bashing you, people not thinking you're enough. You're way more than that. And I think if a lot of people actually knew this, then the world would be a slightly better place. There's still evil people out here, okay? I'm not going to pretend to you guys that they're not evil people out here. Kumbaya, no. They're evil people out here. And it's just, yeah. But if you're in a similar situation as this woman, really look at yourself. Why do you have such a strong connection to this person who was financially irresponsible, destitute, unclean, cannot clean, cannot cook, cannot take care of himself? Why do you have such a strong connection with this person? And I would suggest therapy, as I usually do. I suggest therapy that so that you can really unpack where that comes from and truly go on the path of finding yourself, knowing who you are. Yes, you've experienced trauma. Yes, you've gone through childhood trauma. Who hasn't, right? However, that's not all you are. There's also another facet of who you are that you need to discover. And hopefully you can build your connection based on that, based on the joyous stuff in your life. This doesn't mean hide your trauma. Of course, be vulnerable in front of your partner and tell them you've gone through this thing. However, you also are this. You're also this person. You're this loving person. You're this kind person. You're this smart person. This intelligent person. Whatever you are, you're not just your trauma. All I'm trying to say is that you're not just your trauma. All right. I hope I got that message across. Ooh, this got me heated. Anyways, so that is it for this week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And what did you think? What did you think of the first episode? Because it is so creepy. It's so creepy. I know this is stuff that tends to happen in rom-coms and they're seen as sweet because of the music in the background, but those stuff are creepy. Don't knock on anybody's door in 2023. Don't do that. Text them and then knock on their door. That's weird. Don't do that. Don't be a creep. The second story, you guys agree with me that he just wanted her for her body and not really for her, who she is as a person, because I still think so. And the third story, I'm going to stand by it. Don't build connections based on trauma. Try to figure out who you are as a person, what you like, what you dislike, all those other stuff. And yes, your trauma may be a facet of your life, but it's not your whole life. All right, so that's what I wanted to end on. And again, if you like this video, then please feel free to give us a like, subscribe, leave your comment in the comment section. We always love hearing from you. We reply to you guys sometimes. We always love hearing from you. And if you ever want your story to be featured on one of our episodes, then send us an email at kitchentableadvice@gmail.com. And we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.